Hello everybody, SpiritGaming here. In this video we'll be talking about soul dancers. But before I talk about this class, go and check out my Discord. Link of the Discord is in the description, and while you're there, smash that like button and subscribe if you have not already. But let's continue with the soul dancer talk and see why this is the best overall class in Dragon Raja. Okay, so the reason why I said this is the best overall class in Dragon Raja is because it is literally not bad at anything and it's good at everything. But if you want to have a debate about this or discuss this topic, make sure to join my Discord server where we can talk for a long amount of time there, okay? But now I want to continue with my thought process. The main reason that this class is the best overall is because it's good in PvE events, PvE dungeons, 1v1s, group PvP events, literally everything in the game and everything the game has to offer, okay? This class is just very good at everything. But it's not just that it's good at everything, it's even good at being a free-to-play class. Yes, this is literally the only free-to-play class that any free-to-play player can just pick up and be good with it, or I guess not have the biggest disadvantage when it comes to free-to-play versus pay-to-win players. You can have as much CC, debuffs, mobility and protection as any pay-to-win out there. However, it is true of course that your healing and damage is going to be lower or like way worse, but this disadvantage is nothing when you compare the disadvantages to other classes. For example, like Blade Master, it's a huge difference between a free-to-play Blade Master app and a pay-to-win Blade Master, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about how good soul dancers are in PvE in general, both PvE events and dungeons. In dungeons, if you didn't know already, soul dancers are the fastest class in the game by having the highest movement speed in this game. This means that you can kite most bosses. For example, the teddy bear boss in Gods, you can just kite it and it will never hit you, but of course this takes a lot of focus, since one simple mistake can cost you your life, especially because this class does not have any immunities. But hey, this class still does a lot of damage and can kite bosses in dungeons, so as I said, it's pretty good in dungeons. But now let's talk about PvE events like Dragon Slayer and Clash of Swords. Well, it's good there too. Maybe in Clash of Swords you can sometimes do even more damage than assassins, but the main thing is that soul dancers are one of the most important classes when it comes to Clash of Swords. By equipping Stop Pendulum, that's the A-level talent, in a combination with Time Lock spam for 20 seconds, all of your teammates will do 25% more damage to the Odin boss. And yes, Time Lock does actually work on Odin, which is the Clash of Swords boss if you didn't know already. This Time Lock spam is easily achievable even as a free-to-play player, since you need a rank 3 Vortex EX ability with a combination of some talents, which we will be talking about in the build later on in the video, so stay tuned to see my build, and literally the core stats and everything is gonna be in this video. But yeah, this class is essential for PvE events, making it good for PvE. In Dragon Slayer, as I said, it just does. Sometimes you can do more damage than assassins as well, since the damage is quite insane with some, cool tactics and cool combo. But now I think it's time to go to the PvP side and see how good this class is in PvP. Well, before Reaper, it might have not been the best group PvP class, but now with the release of Reaper, Soul Dancer is actually the most needed class in the game. It can buff, debuff, deal really good damage, CC enemies, including Reapers, which no other class can do, and of course heal. Keep in mind that the heal might seem small, but healing 5 targets for a small amount every second actually adds up to quite a high heal. So yes, especially now with Reapers out there rampaging the battlegrounds, this class is competing for the #1 spot in group PvP. But then we get to the fun part, which is the 1v1 arenas. Well, in 1v1, this class is pretty much impossible to win against Blade Masters and Fighters. However, it is the only class that has at least a small chance of beating Reapers, meaning that this class is not bad in 1v1s too. With the proper skill rotation, talent, deep talent and EX setup, this class can be impossible to kill, at the same time be very deadly. But hey, I think that's enough talk for how good the class is, and let's take a look at the build for this class, including talents, deep talents, core, stats, ally setup, and as well we will look at some draconics that make this class have super armor 24/7. Yes, infinite super armor for soul dancers. So first, let's take a look at the PvE setup. there are two PvE setups. One is for bosses that actually do get hit by time lock, and the other is for the bosses that don't get affected by it. First build is the build for bosses that do get hit by time lock. In this case, we run Sand of Time, Law of Time, Stop Pendulum, and Mimir Spring. We use Sand of Time since this build focuses on dealing damage for 20 seconds straight using time lock, when we have Law of Time, which without this talent time lock spam won't work. Stop Pendulum for everyone to deal more damage to time lock targets, including you. So yes, you will do 25% more damage to the enemies as well. Yeah, your allies won't do 25% damage to you, but to the boss. And lastly, Mimir Spring, which is the best S level talent out there. It's literally the best talent since you get huge amounts of cooldown reduction, and it's basically uncomparable to any other S level talent in the game, not just for Sword Dancer but for any other class. Deep talents are as shown. We basically just go for damage and nothing else, since this is the PvE build and the mobility is not needed at all. Also keep in mind, if you can spam time lock with no vortex, then using vortex is a must for this build to even work, but if you're pay to win you don't need to use vortex anyway, so you can use, let's say, Scorch or Fire Tornado depending on what you have maxed out. Okay, next is the build where we don't focus on time lock. The talents are Ballet in the Snow, Law of Time, Fallen Glacier, and Mimir Spring. Using Ballet in the Snow with combination with Fallen Glacier is really good. However, you will want to use Law of Time and Mimir Spring combo because time lock does actually do more damage than Ice Glare Shock, so you always want to time lock spam if it's possible, since it does deal the most amount of damage. And for the deep talents is the same again, we want the most damage output in this build too, but let's get to the spicy part where you can go with any build you want, but I will show you mine instead, of course. You can like change this build up however you like and however it suits you. And the build I'm talking about is the group PvP build. For example, I use Sand of Time, Law of Time, Lord of Time, and Mimir Spring. This is the regular time lock combo, but while you're spamming time lock, you're ridiculously tanky, which is a big plus. However, if you're running Lair of Honor or bombs, then you want to switch this out for Stop Pendulum, since there you are more coordinated and you should outfocus the time lock targets that are going to take 25% more damage for 20 seconds straight, since yes, you can use and spam time lock for 20 seconds straight to some targets that don't have super armor. The deep talents are like shown, update into more mobility than usual, as well as some more debuffs and protection, but as I said, the PvP build, you can run however you like it and do whatever you want with it, it will literally work. However, the build for 1v1 for me is quite different, since I can't have Vortex as an EX ability, since that would be a waste of an EX slot. This was true for group PvP events as well. However, in group PvP events you actually can get some cooldown reduction buffs on the ground, meaning you don't even need to use Vortex, and that is why the build I showed above is actually good and can actually work even for free-to-play players. But if you have around 70 or 80,000 cooldown reduction, I think you will be able to do it, the time lock spam, without the need of any kind of cooldown reduction buff and only the Mimir Spring combo. But I think it's time to get back to the 1v1 build, and the talents are Ballet in the Snow, Lotus Shriek, Fallen Glacier, and Mimir Spring. The reasoning behind this is because yes, I'm free to play and I can't easily spam time lock, so I focus more on kiting and having a lot of movement speed, as well as CCing and debuffing the target. And again, if you're pay to win, you should just go with the time lock spam build. The deep talents, of course, are right now are like shown on the screen, and again, I opted into more mobility, but at the same time, I want more damage, since even though I'm free to play, there is no one here to deal the damage for me, so I have to do it myself. Unlike the group PvP where I can literally just buff up my allies and they will do the damage for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. About talents and deep talents, now let's take a look at the core setup. For the core, you want 9 fire, 5 water and 2 wind. This is literally obvious for now. I don't think I need to explain it anymore in any future videos as well. For stats, you want 10x off, aka 10 times off, magic attack, water attack, cooldown reduction, AP, crit level and multi-strike. If you're on SEA, then you want to have 8 of these stats instead of 10, since you only have 8 gear pieces for now. For allies, of course, if you have Eri, you should run her as main, but good alternatives are Mingzilu or Anju as main allies. So this class actually does have a nice amount of choice when it comes to LA setups, since you can use Mingzilu, Anju, Airy, even Nono is good for this class as well. Now I said I was gonna talk about the Draconics, so here is what I have to say. You want Whispers of the Ancient God, Unbreakable Will, and Wind Tamer or Draconics. Killshot is good too, but it's not a must. But the combo of Unbreakable Will and Wind Tamer lets you have Super Armor 24/7, meaning you are immune to all kinds of CC, which is absolutely insane for a class like Soul Dancer, which has a lot of movement speed anyways. However, this is needed since the class does not have any dashes or any immunities like most other classes do. However, keep in mind this combo, this Draconic combo won't work if you don't have the deep talent that lets your endurance regen faster on. Of course, you want to get that as much as you possibly can. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions, join my Discord so we have a very long discussion about it, since I started responding less to comments because I will focus more on my Discord community, since it is easier to talk there and explain stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. Hope you liked and subscribed, and as always, bye bye until next time.